पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. We are on chapter 17th of Bhagavad Gita. We did verse number 4 last time, but we will go back on that verse and then we will try to understand a few things which are related to that verse. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to understand some facts about our existence. So verse number 4, I will relate it to the presentation later on, but it reads like this. सात्विक पुरुष देवों को पूजन करते हैं, राजस पुरुष यक्ष और राक्षसों को तथा अन्य जो तामस पुरुष हैं वे प्रेत और भूतगणों को पूजते हैं. Now, before we analyze this in greater detail, let's also see the verse number 25 and 26 of chapter 9 because they are correlated. Now, verse number 25 of chapter 9 reads like this. देवताओं को पूजन करने वाले देवताओं को प्राप्त होते हैं, पितरों को पूजन करने वाले पितरों को प्राप्त होते हैं और भूतों को पूजन करने वाले भूतों को प्राप्त होते हैं और मेरा भक्त मुझे प्राप्त होता है. So these are correlated here. Then the next verse of chapter 9, verse number 26. जो कोई भक्त मेरे लिए प्रेम से पत्र पुष्प फल जल आदि अर्पण करता है, उस शुद्ध बुद्धि का निष्काम प्रेमी भक्त का प्रेम पूर्वक अर्पण किया हुआ वह पत्र पुष्पादि में सगुण रूप से प्रकट होके प्रीति सहित खाता हूं. So here Lord Krishna has explained certain things which we will understand in a context. Now let's understand some fundamentals when we are going on this verse. You see, let's understand what is this existence. If we go to the Sankhya principle, there are two fundamentals, Prakriti and Purush. Purush is basically what we call Avyakt. Prakriti is Vyakt. Prakriti is manifest. Purush is non-manifest. Purush can be called consciousness. Prakriti can be called physical existence. We also call Purush consciousness, or we can call it in Sanskrit Chetana. And Prakriti is whatever is manifest world which we see around. Now, Purush is one part, Prakriti is second part. In chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna divided them into two categories. That is Parashakti. Parashakti is Chaitanya or consciousness. Aparashakti is the manifest world, the physical world. The physical world is also called Maya because it originally comes from the same Parashakti, from same one single entity called Purush. Now, we saw in chapter number 13, there was detailed description of Kshetra and Kshetragya. That is also related to the same, what we call Paramatma and Maya, or manifest and non-manifest. Now, so far as the Paramatma is concerned, or the Chaitanya is concerned, we cannot understand it. We can only experience it. We can't even talk about it. We can't think about it. This has been clearly mentioned in Mandukya Upanishad, and I will read that out a little bit. so that we cover one part, that is Chaitanya. Now here it says, Nanta pragyam na bahya pragyam, nobhayatam pragyam, na pragyan ganam, na pragyam, na pragyagam. Then it says, adrastam avyavharyam agrahyam alakshanam. That this Chaitanya or consciousness or Atma or Paramatma, whatever name we give, this cannot be seen inside, cannot be seen outside. It जो देखा नहीं गया है, that is अदृष्टम. जो व्यवहार में नहीं लाया गया है, अव्यवहार्यम. जो पकड़ में नहीं आ सकता है, अग्राह्यम. जिसका कोई लक्षण नहीं है, अलक्षणम. जो चिंतन में नहीं आ सकता, अचिंत्यम. जो बतलाने में नहीं आ सकता, एकमात्र सत्ता ही उसकी प्रतीति है. Now this is what the Chaitanya is. Chaitanya cannot be expressed by your language. It cannot be thought in your mind. It cannot be, exchanged. It cannot be seen outside. It cannot be seen inside. It can only be felt by those who become one with it. That is Chaitanya. That is one part of our existence, which actually is the what you call the single most powerful force from where everything originates. Now the second part is Prakriti. Now we should understand Prakriti because this chapter is related to Prakriti. Now Prakriti is what we see, the manifest part. Now this has been analyzed in variety of ways in our ancient literature. There are two aspects of Prakriti which we should understand. One is Trigunatmak, what you call qualities, three qualities. Tam, Raj and Sat. These are the three qualities. And there are five tattva, five variations. We saw that earlier, but let us, repeat them a little bit. The five tanmatraj. So we will go over that slowly. First, let us understand the three qualitative aspects. The three qualitative aspects are Tam, Raj and Sat. Now, Tam is basically a power which is creating hurdles or which is responsible for destruction, which is heavy, which pulls you down. That is the power of Tam. For example, the force of gravitation. When you throw a stone in the space, you apply Raj, but then the Tam brings it down, it comes down. The Tam brings it down. When a person tells lies, he does all kinds of, wrong activities, he is pulled down. In his own self, he feels that he is pulling him down. He becomes heavy. When you do something wrong, inside you accumulate heaviness. And what we do, we talk to somebody else and express all that, then you feel light. कि अब मैंने सब कुछ निकाल दिया बाहर, कचरा निकाल दिया, and you become light. So the Tam actually, gives rise to certain activities which actually pull you down. But it doesn't mean that Tam is not necessary. In existence, all the three qualities are required. Tam is also required for existence to work. Raj is also required and Sat is also required. Now, Tam is one part of Tam is gravitational force. Other part of the thumb is all the wrong activities we do, whether we, criticize others, whether we, tell lies, whether we do theft, or whether we do dacoity, or whether we abuse others, all that is part of thumb. Or we remain, lazy, we don't do anything, that is also part of thumb, because that is heaviness. In the morning when you don't get up, normally people in India say, tamsi bana hua hai, this fellow has become very tamsi. Means he is not able to get up early in the morning and he is still in that heavy mood, just lying down. So that is thumb. Thumb is the force which brings you down. Now Raj. Raj is that force which provides dynamism, which provides a movement, which, gives you a kind of energy. So that force, Raj is, for example, a politician. He goes around, delivers a speech, meets hundreds of people. All that energy which he has, it is originating from Raj. That is why the Rajnitigya are called Raja or Raj. That word comes from Raj. That they have so much energy, so much force that keeps them moving all the time. A politician, once he is out of power or once he is out of politics, you will find he becomes sick. He is not able to sustain himself properly. They have all kinds of ailments. That is because his Rajasic force is not active anymore. So Rajasic force is not only in politicians, it's also in the business people. The business people also keep thinking, inventing things. Let us do this, let's do that. And all the dynamism and motivation and all the movement which we provide, it comes from Rajas. Rajas is the force which moves us. It's like in the car, you provide speed to the car, that is movement, that is Rajas. And when you brake, that is tamas. But both brake and speed, both are necessary. Now, Rajas can be in many other forms as well. Even in atom, for example, you have proton, neutron, and electron. Now, there is a force which keeps them together. They like we have, the current, that is one negative and one positive, which keeps them stable. So you need both the currents, negative and positive, to provide electricity. We have that earthing, which goes in the earth, which is the extra power when it goes, it's negative. So the negative and positive forces work together. Without their working, the existence will not work. Now, the balance between the two is leading to Sat. You have a triangle. You have a triangle. Now, one side of the triangle at the bottom is Raj, another side is Sat. Tam. Raj and Tam are at the bottom, and Sat is on the top. That is the triangle. Now, when you are able to balance the two, that you are not too much in Rajas or too much in Tamas, then you are moving towards Sattvic. You don't have to be too lazy. You don't have to be too, criminal. You don't have to be too forceful. Because if you are too much in Rajas, it gives you tremendous stress. All the people who are working very hard, they are falling in that category. In general, in the Western civilization, you find a lot of Rajas. And that is why those people are very much stressed. They are never quiet. When first time when I went to New York, I saw people running all the time on the streets. I didn't find anybody walking. They were all the time running. So that is the Rajas. It keeps them running. They don't know where they are running, where they are going, what is the destination, but they are running all the time. They are inventing things. They are trying to create wealth. They are, engaged in business activities. They are engaged in political activities, they are engaged in social activities. And then there are other people who are not engaged, who are quiet, who are just sitting at home, don't want to do anything. Like in India, a large number of people you will find they are tamasic. They may be sitting on the cafe, they may be, dirt all around them, but they don't want to clean that. They are just sitting and relaxing there. They don't even want to arrange their own clothes at home and keep them properly because they are so lazy that they don't want to do those activities. And the tamasic activity is actually also promoted by what we misinterpretation of fate. This is my destiny. This is how I'm supposed to be. And therefore I should not work. Because if destiny wants me to work, I work. That kind of misinterpretation of destiny also leads to tamasic behavior. So we have to avoid both the tamasic and the rajasic. It has to be balanced. The two qualities which are there in nature, because they are part of our body system. Body is made of the same five elements. And because of that, we have to balance the two to move towards the top of the triangle, that is the sattvic force. Now, sattvic force is not the ultimate, because ultimately you have to transcend all the three and go to the other force called Paramatma or Atma. So that is the next step. But at our level, the first step is to balance the tamasic and rajasic, not to be too rajasic, not to be too tamasic, just keeping the what you call adequate, quantities of the two, and then moving forward. Now, in this respect, if you look at, the verse in verse number 16, 17, and 18 of chapter 6, let me read one of them. Now, verse number 16 says, हे अर्जुन, ये योग न तो बहुत खाने वालों का, न बिल्कुल न खाने वालों का, न बहुत सहन करने वालों का, न बिल्कुल न सहन करने वालों का है। ये योग तो मतलब जो यथा योग्य व्यवहार करता है उन्हीं का है. So you have to keep a balance. This is what he is saying here. It is reference to the same sattvic and tamasic activities, that we have to keep the balance between the two. Then next verse says, दुखों का नाश करने वाला योग तो यथा योग्य आहार विहार करने वालों का, कर्मों में यथा योग्य चेष्टा रखने वालों का, और यथा योग्य सोने और जागने वालों का होता है. Now that balance is very, very essential to move towards sattvic behavior. So this is that the three what we call qualitative attributes of nature. Now we have five tattvas or five physical elements. There's a qualitative elements are three, physical elements are five. Those five originate from five tanmatras. And let me repeat them now. They start with Shabd. Shabd is the first tanmatra. That is the element of sound. Now, I'm not talking about this element itself. I'm talking about the suksham part, the non-manifest part of the sound. Now, Shabd, when it is in the tamas form, it is the gross element in the nature. You see that Akash is the medium of sound, that the gross element of nature. Now Shabd, the element of sound in its tamasic form, is Akash, that gross element of nature. In its Rajasic form, it is the sense of hearing we have in our body. And in its Sattvic form, it is the sound which we utter. So the three qualities are also reflected in each of the five tanmatras. This is the first tanmatra shabd. Now let's take the second tanmatra, that is the spars, the sense of touch, or the element of touch, not the sense, element of touch. Now, the gross element of air is the tamasic form of the element of touch. That you feel the air when it touches, you feel that touch. On your body, when there's a movement of air, you feel the touch. So the gross part, the tamasic part of element of touch is air. The rajasic part is our hands with which we touch. That is the human, sense of touch. And the sattvic part, the rasic part is the physical element, that is the hand. And the sattvic part is the sense of touch, the feeling which you get once you use your hand and touch something, that sense which, goes through your mind, that is the sattvic part. Then we go to the third element. Third element is the element of sight. Now it also appears into three forms: tamasic, rasic, and sattvic. This element of sight, when it is the gross form, that is the element of fire. Sun is the most visible symbol of that. That is the tamasic form of element of sight, because the sun gives you, or the fire provides you, the light with which you can see. That is the tamasic part. Then the rasic part is the motor element, the karmendriya, the movement which happens, that is legs. That is the tamasic part of element of sight. And the sense of sight, when we actually see with our eyes and feel some objects, that is the sattvic part. Then we have rush, that is the element of taste. It also appears into all the three qualities: rasic, tamasic, and sattvic. The tamasic part of the element of rush, or element of taste, is water, which we see physically, that is water. Then the rasic part is the sexual organ which we have in our body. That is the rasic element of the sense of taste. And the sattvic element is the sense of taste itself. So, sorry, I got a little bit mixed up in the words. This is the element of taste which appears into three forms. The one form is the gross element of water, that is tamasic. The other is the motor of sexual organ, that is rasic. And third is the sense of taste, which is sattvic. Then the fifth element is the element of smell. Now, element of smell also appears into all the three qualities: the quality of tamasic, the quality of rasic, the quality of sattvic. Now, element of smell, when it appears in the tamasic form, it is the element of earth, heavy, that is the tamasic. Then it is appearing in the rasic form, that is the process of evacuation, the sense of evacuation, that is the karmendri of evacuation, which we have in our body. And in sattvic form, it is the sense of smell. So the point is that the point is that you have five karmendriyas and five jnanendriyas in your body. The karmendriyas are related to the rasic quality of the elements. The Jnanendriya is arising out of the rajasic quality of the element. And the physical world which you see, the five Panchbhutas, they arise, the Panchbhutas arrive from the tamasic part. The Jnanendriya arise from the sattvic part. Karmendriya arise from the rajasic part. So this is how the whole nature is made. It is the three qualities and five elements. They give rise to all variety of variations which we see in this world. As we say, one appears into multiple forms. Similarly, here there are three qualities and five elements. All this give rise to all varieties which exist in the nature, the manifest part. So this is how the nature works. The one part of the nature is non-manifest, which is consciousness, which is Atma, which is Paramatma, which provides energy to everything, which provides consciousness to everything. The second part is Prakriti. Prakriti has three qualitative aspects and five physical aspects. The five tanmatras. Now, five tanmatras appear into tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic form. In tamasic form, they appear in the nature, which are the five gross elements. In rajasic form, they appear as five karmendriyas in our body. And in sattvic form, they appear as five jnanendriyas in our body. So this is how the whole existence operates. So we are related, the man and nature. We are correlated very, very closely with the entire physical world. So if somebody believes that I am independent, I can control the nature, and there is no power governing this whole thing, I am the governor. That is the basic foolishness we do, and that is driven by our ego, by our ahankar, by our mad. So this is what this chapter tells us, how our qualities are reflected in variety of ways when we conduct ourselves in this world. So now I think it is very clear how these three gunas are related to our day-to-day behavior in the world. Now let us go back to this verse number 4. Now, Sattvic Purus, the people who have balanced the rasic and tamasic activities, they have tendency to worship the divine power. They respect the divine power. Worshipping doesn't mean that you go to a temple and worship. Worship, worshipping means that you are in company of the good elements, the divine elements. For example, some person goes or meets some other nice people who are very spiritual in their nature, who are knowledgeable. That is, you are actually worshipping a divinity. That is what it means. That you have balanced your rajasic and tamasic, qualities, and you have gone on the top of the triangle to the sattvic element, which is enabling you to search for other, divine powers. Now, divine powers could be in human beings. Like we always say that good people end up in the company of the good. The smoker ends up in a company of a smoker. A drunkard ends up in a company of drunkard. Why that happens? Because our qualities actually inspire us, or actually, mm, propel us in that particular direction. That is what happens. So here, if we are able to balance our rajasic and uh, tamasic qualities, then we will be automatically propelled towards the sattvic quality, and then we will find the company. We will be, inspired to find the company of good people, good elements, good things in life. That is what it means. Then Rajas Purus, यक्ष एंड राक्षसों का उसकी तरफ जाते हैं. They are the tendency is like a businessman would like to meet another businessman. A scientist who is involved in inventing new things, he will be happy to meet other scientists. A drunkard would be happy to meet another drunkard. That is the rasic part, but that is yeah. So if you are in the rasic category, if you are, for example, want to become a politician, then you would like to meet other politicians. You would like to meet them. You would like to learn from them. You would like to be in that company. And then you will follow those principles in life, which will actually propel you towards the politics, or which will propel you towards the economics or towards business. So that is what Rajsik does. And Tamsik भूत और प्रेतों को पूजते हैं. Now, Bhoot and Pretoka doesn't mean, the interpretation which we get outside that the ghosts exist and all that. It is not that. It basically that they are lazy. They want to remain in the state of without, not much higher consciousness. So they end up drinking. They end up smoking. They end up doing, criminal activities, and they stay in the past. They don't think about the future. Now, bhoot and pret and bhoot means you also stay in the past. Bhoot and pret have past. They reflect the past, not the future, not the present. So you are constantly in the past. This is what this verse means. So I thought it would be useful to understand how the whole existence works and how these gunas regulate our day-to-day behavior, and how we are propelled in a particular direction if we are, actually propelled by a particular quality, by rasic, by tamasic. A tamasic quality will propel you towards drinking, propel you towards smoking, propel you towards, not doing anything, just becoming lazy. And that is the kind of, or doing some criminal activities. That is the tamasic. The rasic quality will propel you towards to do more. It is like, promoting business, opening one organization after another, or opening institutions, or participating in, political activities, all that thing which require more and more action, more and more vibration, more and more invention. That is rasic. But if you are able to balance the two, then you are reaching the tamasic. That is where we have to balance. The balance of the sukha, the bhautik sukha, the balance of the comforts of life, and the, the desire to understand the supreme. If we are able to balance the two, then we are moving towards sattvic. Because if you are absolutely hungry, if you are not able to satisfy your physical needs, then you cannot move towards the supreme also. So there should be a balance. That is why Lord Krishna in chapter 6 said कि आपको यथा योग्य कर्म भी करने पड़ेंगे to live in this world. You have to keep your body in proper shape, so that you can think about spiritual activities, you can think about the supreme and move in that direction. So this balancing is very, very important, and this balancing enables us to move forward. Now that balancing exists in autumn also. That is what science has discovered. This balancing of three is also in the form of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Brahma is actually Rasic, which gives rise to this universe, gives, provides shape to this universe. He's the creator. Then Shankar is the one which is creating, destruction or obstructions to contain certain things. And Vishnu is the one who does the balancing part of it, who maintains this balance in the world so that the world runs. So, in fact, these three energies, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, they are also in a way representing these three forces of nature. These three people are not individuals, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, they are not individuals, but these are the three forces representing the balance in the nature. And that is what our ancient scientists had discovered, which has now been discovered by the modern scientists in the form of atomic, the proton, neutron, and electron. That is in the physical world, but we have discovered it in, in very ancient time and also in a very holistic way. So this is what I thought I will relate with this verse number 4. Now we will take another verse, verse number 5 now. जो मनुष्य शास्त्र विधि से रहित केवल मन कल्पित घोर तप को तपते हैं तथा दंभ और अहंकार से युक्त एवं कामना आसक्ति और बल के अभिमान से भी युक्त हैं. Now you see, when for example you want to construct a motor vehicle, now there is a particular design, there is a particular approach, you have to get different parts, you have to assemble them in a particular way. If you follow that prescription which has been given by the people who have invented and who have manufactured motor vehicle, then you will be able to create a motor vehicle. But if you don't follow that and try to do your own, whatever you want to do with all the devotion, all the passion, but then you cannot create a motor vehicle. Exactly the same way, if you don't follow the Shastras give you a particular design, they give you a blueprint how to reach the Supreme, how to be in union with the Supreme. If you don't follow that and you follow your own manokalpit, that is your own imaginary, thinking, while you are working very hard, but you are following that imaginary thinking, it will not lead you anywhere. Why do you follow that imaginary thinking? Because of your damba and ahankar. Because I am also powerful, I can also do it. Now that damba and ahankar, that arrogance, that ego, is the reason why you do not follow the Shastras and you follow your own imaginary things which you think will lead you to the union with the Supreme. That's not going to happen. Like you cannot manufacture a motor vehicle unless you follow a prescribed blueprint. Similarly, you cannot be in union with the Supreme unless you follow the Shastras. Shastras does not mean the written text. It also means the, the saints, what they have said, the saints who have been in union with the Supreme, they have told you certain truths of life. If you follow those truths, then you will reach that path, then you will reach that destination. So this is what Lord Krishna has said here. So we will stop here today because I have to, go for those civil service mock interviews. But I thought this would be a very useful juncture to understand how the human being and how the nature they function and how they are interconnected, how the three qualities, that is tam, raj, and sat, and how the five elements, and that is the akash, vayu, agni, jal, and prithvi, how they function with all these three qualities of nature. So this is what I thought would give us some, overall picture, and also what is consciousness, which we saw separately. So what is the Parashakti and what is Aparashakti, what is Kshetra and what is Kshetragya, and how Kshetra actually is working with three qualities and five elements, and how we can now balance our rajasic and tamasic qualities, because the body has these qualities, and how we can balance these qualities and reach the sattvic one, and then we can transcend the sattvic one and reach the the supreme. So this is going to be a self exercise which we'll have to do, each one of us. Thank you very much.